Namaste everyone. Very warm welcome to Satsang this evening. Sadhguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai. Did you all have a concept-free weekend? Usually when I say bye on Friday, I ask everyone to have a concept-free weekend. For me, as much as for you. Because many times I find that Monday to Friday we are cleaning out, removing all the concepts. Then on 2 days of the weekend, can be refill, like a refill pack of concepts can come. Then the fresh cycle of cleanup can start. A bit of it is natural. In the break from satsang, a bit of it will happen. Shall we get back to Sri Ashtavakra? We're starting 11 today. Who knows where we are?
Quietude is
Huh?
quietude.
Quietude. Quietude.
No, Father, the first verses from 10, I think it was, no?
It's from 10. It's still on 10?
You forgot the first verses last time.
Oh, right. Yes, you reminded me the other day. Yes. So Ashtavakra said, give up desire, which is the enemy. Give up prosperity, which is born of mischief and good works. Be indifferent. Look upon friends, lands. Oh yeah, I remember this. Friends, lands, wealth, houses, wives, gifts, and all apparent good fortune as a passing show, as a dream lasting 3 to 5 days. Clearly, the sage is not married. And so he says, all apparent good fortune. Where there is desire, there is the world. Be firm in non-attachment. Be free of desire. Be happy. So let's look at verse 3 first, because then the first two will make more sense. We looked at this, isn't it? When he says, where there is desire, there is the world. Be firm in non-attachment. Be free from desire. What does it mean when there is desire, there is the world? Who remembers the two things I said? Who remembers the one thing I said? Who remembers anything I've ever said? So the first thing I said was that this term desire, that desire creates the world, can be looked at in two ways. The first way is the larger picture, where we say that there must have been an urge, a desire, a primal desire, a primal urge in awareness, the self itself. This primal urge to experience itself as if it is something manifest, as if it is something existent, which led to this I then playing as I am. The minute I am, there is the world. Except in the rare states of some meditation, that there is I am, but there is no world. Mostly when there is I am, there is the world. So this primal urge, this primal desire, at one level has been called this creator, the creation of the world, has been said to be the cause of creation. I wanted to experience myself in this way, in an existent way. I am. And then, because I am, then I am everything. When I am manifesting myself, then that which is everything manifests. So, therefore, all colors, all shades have to manifest. You see, there is actually no way around this. You see? Like, just like white has to disperse into all the colors, in the same way consciousness disperses into all its shades. And if you truly understand this, if you truly get an insight about this, then this question about why something has to happen in the world or other things, why do good things happen to bad, why do bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people, these questions will start to reveal themselves from that insight. It will never make sense personally, but when we look from the perspective of existence, only then can these kind of things make no sense. What is revealing itself is that consciousness plays as everything, in all shades, in all qualities, in all attributes. There is only consciousness. So this is the first. Desire creates the world. The second is the desire, which is part of the three Ds, the three Ds of the ego. What is it? Duality, desire, and dualism, which make up our so-called individual representation, our ego, our sense of identity. So only when this D is there. What is the basis of this desire? It means that there must be something which is already not me. Only that I can desire. If it is already me, how can I desire it? Or if I am everything already, is it possible for me to desire it? So desire must come as a result of a belief that there is a separate me, which is separate from some other object or some other creation, and I must have that. I want that. You see? So then this me and the world, this is what I ask you, isn't it? Is there ever this appearance without this duality of me and other, me and the world, this inherent play of duality in this existence seems to play out always. So the creation of the world, if you have no desire, and even greater, if you have no sense that there is a separation, there is not a world which is apart from myself. All is my own consciousness, my own being, my own existence. And there are no battles to fight. There's nothing to win or lose. There is no lack. There is no bondage. There are no two. So then looking from this perspective, then we can look at what he said about look upon friends, lands, wealth, houses, wives, gifts, and all apparent good fortune as a passing show, as a dream lasting 3 to 5 days. Where there is desire, there is the world. Be firm in non-attachment. Be free of desire. Be happy. How to be firm in non-attachment? Be clear about what you are. All of these can be a bit tricky, you see. That's why we're taking so much time over every verse so that we can make it clear. Otherwise, there can be this idea that I must now be unattached. But we have to smell a little carefully and make sure that the personal I, the individual I, is not sneaking into this. Whose resolution would this be? That's why I say that many times in the highest of spiritual pointings, in the highest of Advaita pointings also, there can be a great defense system for the ego itself, which can then make a conclusion that I, Ananta, have to be unattached. I as something personal have to become unattached. It's not that. What is your true position? Come to your true position. You are that awareness which is aware of its existence. How can that awareness be attached? So, to become unattached actually is a clue to seeing that you already are unattached. If you go back to the blue cat for a minute, so they say the blue cat should not be attached to the milk. Is it? And if you believed yourself to be the blue cat all this time, then you will take that instruction from the perspective of the blue cat. Ah, I will not, it will come, it will pull me, but I will not be attached to the bowl of milk. Is it? I'm not referring to the blue cat at all. I'm referring to you, which is beyond attachment and detachment. So basically everything is pointing us back to the two main things in satsang, isn't it? The two main things in satsang are recognize what your reality is, recognize what your reality is, and secondly, don't buy into any story which does not conform to your recognition of what you really are. Don't buy into any story which is not true, simply put. Not true means not true about your reality. All the pointings, all satsang, all the scriptures are about this true self recognition and dropping of the false condition. Both are ultimately the same as well. Be firm in non attachment, be free of desire. I made it simpler for you. Just don't believe your next thought. And all this happens on its own. Bondage and desire are the same. Destroy desire and be free. Only by detaching from the world does one joyfully realize the self. Now, there's a beautiful clue in this. Why did the sage add the word joyfully? Because the usual objection to not being attached to the world is that it can feel like I will have a very insipid, robotic life. If I give up my attachment to the world, then it can seem like my existence will become robotic. It will become so plain. That's why the sage said, very strategically, put the word joyfully there. Because no sage has ever reported that my experience has become so insipid and robotic. Why? In fact, when you come to the presence of a sage, you find yourself inexplicably coming to so much joy. So much joy comes to you. How can it come from that which is itself so joyless and insipid? So it is not the giving up, the renunciation, which is usually understood by the mind, almost like a depriving yourself of something. It is not that kind of renunciation. It is only the dropping of the false belief, the false identity that you have picked up about yourself. And then it is not that you contract into this measly object. It is truly an expansion which is beyond any sort of visible expansion, beyond any expansion that the mind can understand. Nothing is outside of you, and yet you are not contained within the whole of everything. How do I explain these words? Nothing is outside of you, and yet even the everything which is appearing does not contain you. It is you, but it is not a container for you. It cannot hold you. That much magnificence is there in your discovery about yourself. You are wonderful indeed. Can you handle this wonder about yourself? Only if you don't try to contain it. Only if you don't try to make a limitation about it. How was Janaka able to say, I am wonderful indeed, beyond adoration? Was it egoistic? I am wonderful. Was he speaking personally? Because he was talking about you. I am always only talking about you. You are talking about yourself, actually. All the clues are like this. It's for this discovery. It is magnificent, beyond magnificent. The discovery of the self. Must there be a halo for it to be magnificent? Must there be some great sugary, blissful feeling for it to be magnificent? No. Just in the naturalness of what is. Already you are wonderful. You are one. Awareness itself. The universe is neither aware nor does it exist. Even ignorance is unreal. What is left to know? You are one. Awareness itself. The universe is neither aware nor does it exist. Even ignorance is unreal. What is left to know? So the first part, you are one. Awareness itself. Is this the recognition from all the inquiry, from being in satsang, from the contemplation, from finding out who is that which witnesses even my existence? Is it? So this one awareness. This is your discovery. Now, the universe is neither aware nor does it exist. So this is like saying that I am aware of the world. I am aware of sight, smell, taste, all the perceiving. Sight, smell, taste, all of this is not aware of me. So you are aware of the dynamic aspect. Awareness is what you are. Knowingness is what you are. You are aware of the world. He says, neither does it exist. Why? Because he means now neither is it real. Real in what way? According to his own definition, which is that it must be unchanging. What is your experience of the world? Sometimes the world is like this, sometimes the world is like that, sometimes this world, sometimes some dream world. Is it always changing? So what is it which is unchanging? Is this awareness changing? Is this witnessing changing? And you say that this is the one constant. So when he says it does not exist, it is only from that perspective. We have to be careful not to, within the world itself, come to just a verbal denial of the world. So I have to clarify the definition of existence for this reason. Otherwise, many might come to this point of saying, there is no consciousness, there is no being. How you say that? Don't you exist first to say that? To say even anything, to even say the world does not exist, or to say that there is no being, can only be spoken from this perspective that it is not the ultimate reality, because even being ultimately for the absolute self is a coming and going. I am playing as I am, and I am dissolving back into its own source. Even ignorance is unreal. Ignorance is unreal. Which means that even this, from this definition, of course, is coming and going. That's why many times we say that even if you identify as if you are something personal, you identify as an ego for millions of lifetimes. It doesn't ultimately matter. Because the truth is unaffected, untouched by this. It never really happened. It can never really happen that the real became the unreal. The ego never was born. It was just a play of consciousness, a disguise of consciousness, a mask of consciousness. All that you believe about yourself, all that needs a belief to exist, is a mask, is not the real you. It's a condition. It relies on your ideas about yourself. Suppose you lost the functioning of this ability to understand what the mind is saying. Somebody should make a movie like that. Somebody wakes up one day and they wake up in Bangalore, and suddenly their mind starts speaking, in some Aramaic or some Arabic or Russian or something. They're like, huh? Would you not exist now? Of course, your outward appearance might seem very strange to most others who come across you. It's not about the outward appearance, is it? What has fundamentally changed for your reality? If suddenly something changed the switch in your mind and it became a different language. Attached as you have been to kingdoms, sons. We did these, no? Nitya, did we do these? Last few we did. I feel like I did this one. Go to chapter 11. Ashtavakra saying, existence, non-existence, change. This is the nature of things. Realizing this, stillness, serenity, and bliss naturally flow. Existence, non-existence, and change. This is the nature of things. How big a statement is that? Is it? He's saying that for you, even existence changes to non-existence. Non-existent changes to existence. What must you be, which is independent of existence? This discovery can be only one, because everything phenomenal depends on existence. Who's with me? Can you name one phenomena or anything that you can experience unless you exist? So is there ever the experience of anything phenomenal unless there is I am? I must be for the world to be. Consciousness, that's why we call consciousness this. We sometimes call it God. All there is. Because when there is consciousness, there is the play of this phenomenal world. Now, sage is saying, for you, existence and non-existence are also in the realm of change. So what is it that is even beyond existence? Six is still missing. Okay. We have some of these lights. At least one enlightenment should happen every satsang. We have a switch. Okay, let's get back to the serious. That's why the pointing is there, isn't it? When I ask you, can you stop being? Who is aware of this? So the sage is saying, existence, non-existence, change. This is the nature of things. So he is saying very clearly, all this is phenomena. Many times we've called even I am the immaculate conception, the purest phenomenal, the primordial vibration. Because although it is not yet attached, it is not associated, it is not something, it is the divine presence of God itself. Yet you are higher than that. All of you have heard that story of the Sufi saint who comes to the king's door. You have not heard? I'm always a bit shy to share the stories that Guruji shares because he shares them so beautifully. So once there was this Sufi saint and he wanted to go visit the king. So he knocked on the door of the kingdom and these soldiers, they opened the door. He says, I want to meet the king. They're like, who are you? Are you a soldier in his army? He says, no, I'm higher than that. Then It's longer, and these guards, they go back and forth between the king. But I'll make it shorter. So he says, I'm higher than that. Who's higher than that? Are you a general of the army? No, I'm higher than that. Higher than that? Are you the prime minister? No, I'm higher than that. Higher than that? Are you a king from a neighboring country? No, higher than that. Higher than that? Are you an emperor which lords over all of these kings? No, higher than that. Higher than the emperor is only God. Are you saying you're God? No, higher than that. So what lips, what tongue can utter this kind of words? Higher than that. Beyond even the play of existence and non-existence. So here, very dismissively almost, the sage is saying, existence, non-existence change. They change. This is the nature of things. Realizing this, serenity, stillness and bliss naturally follow. Naturally follow. It's so beautiful. We have to credit both the sage as well as the translator in this case. They've done a very beautiful job. Why is the word naturally so important? Because you can start chasing these things. I want serenity, I want stillness, I want bliss. Where is the Ananda? He's saying you just see that even existence and non-existence, they change for who you are. Then you will find that this stillness, serenity, peace, all of this naturally follows. So if Sat Chit Ananda, Sat Chit Ananda is truth, consciousness, bliss, then you stay as the truth, exist effortlessly, and bliss is bound to follow naturally. If you have to chase something, chase the truth. If you want to find something, find the reality of who you are now, and you will discover this truth, which is beyond even being, beyond existence, chit, consciousness, and just be effortlessly and allow bliss to naturally follow, peace to naturally follow. This is the right order of things. If you start chasing spiritual experiences, you start chasing any kind of fireworks, then remember that any of that is just a byproduct of your existence. And if existence itself is ultimately changing, then how will you hold on to some experience? So experiences are beautiful candy along the way, a beautiful prasad along the way. But never confuse the prasad for the Lord or the candy for the truth. Many of us have done this, that's why I emphasize this so much. Here also, when there used to be meditation and things like that, and some great experiences would happen, then I would have this expectation that that is the whole point. I have to get back to that particular experience. And the whole intent of inquiry used to be lost. It was only about gaining experiences, which is the same as a worldly way to live. Gather more and more objects, gather more and more experience. So stay with the Sat, which is the truth. That is why it is Satsang, the company of the truth, the company of that which points us to the reality of what we are, is Satsang. Realizing this, stillness, serenity, and bliss naturally follow. One who knows for certain that self creates all and is alone becomes still, desireless, unattached. One who knows for certain that self creates all and is alone becomes still, desireless, unattached, which is exactly what we've been discussing. One who knows for certain that adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny becomes content. He neither desires nor grieves. One who knows for certain that adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny becomes content. He neither desires nor grieves. What is the meaning of this? Obedience to destiny. Surrender. Surrender to what? To destiny. Destiny means what? That which is the will of God. That which is the will of consciousness. That's why the other day, in fact, this is one question I feel like I would have got the most in the sharing of satsang, which is that, do I have will or not? And it's a very, the question itself is filled with trouble. Because in this case, this I, which is asking, is coming from which perspective? Makes the answer change. So if you're asking as an individual entity, then what will could you have? Same thing as that blue cat, isn't it? Basically, it boils down to that. Do we still believe somewhere that there must be some person sitting here in one way or the other? There must be a person sitting somewhere. Is it? So I use the term blue cat just so it sounds exaggerated and ludicrous, but actually the situation is exactly the same. Just as there is no blue cat here, there is no person here. Exactly like that. Just like the blue cat is a mental concept believed in, if you were to believe it, same way the person is just a mental construct believed in. So if this one, so if you say, do I have free will? And I will say, yes, you have as much free will as the blue cat in this room has. Because both are at the same level of reality or unreality. I hope this is clear. How can something which doesn't exist have will? You see? So behind the condition to not let go of this individual will, there must be the concept of the individual. There must be a belief in my individual existence. That's why I hang on so much to my idea of my individual will. And if that is the case, then stay with that with integrity and say, yes, it's fine, satsang is good, I like it, but actually I still feel like I'm a person. So let's investigate that, which is what we do every day. And then once we come to this direct recognition that there is no such entity as the person, then automatically that non-existent one, all its attributes drop, isn't it? Can the non-existent cat be blue? What is the shape of your second head? All these questions then, do I have free will? What should I do? Is it wrong to desire? All these then melt away because you're referring to yourself as if as like children refer to their imaginary friends. So then we saw that, okay, individual will is impossible. And yet, in the worldly play, there seems to be these beautiful patterns which unfold, beautiful stories which play out, beautiful things which we all taste and experience in some way or the other. So who's doing all this then? If I don't exist, then whose will is all of this? We say, many of us say, grace brought us to Satsang. Therefore, this which manifested as grace must have some intelligence to do this. Brought us to Satsang. Who is this one? This is what we call the will of consciousness, the will of God. And some people call it destiny. So when the sage says, one who knows for certain that adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny becomes content. He neither desires nor grieves. Another example of this is how our mind can look at some things, and especially when we are in satsang, it can label some things as grace and label other things as not grace. Which means I have had some examples of this that happened over the years. One beautiful being, he was staying with me. The sharing of satsang had just started then. He was from Guruji's. I'd met him in Guruji's Sangha in Tiruvannamalai. And he was staying with me. Now, he had been in a relationship for some time, and that relationship started to give him some trouble. So he said, you know, Ananta, it was so beautiful. The grace that brought us together. You see? But now I don't know what's happening. So grace brought us together, but now what is happening is not grace. Can we examine this fallacy? So that which brought us together was the will of God, but now all this trouble in the relationship must be my doing. This is the way in which the mind still finds a way to inject this me based on these events which are bound to constantly change. So it is like this, that grace brought us together, and even the trouble that is being caused is also grace. Mostly because grace is playing with belief in this individual identity, and yet even that is the play of consciousness. That's why he said that knows for certain that adversity and success. He did not say just success is destiny and adversity is your fault. That adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny. And obedience to destiny means obedience to the will of consciousness, God's will. Once it is seen, then this one becomes content. Contentment comes because the burden of doership and desire starts to fall away. Even if you considered yourself a separate object, if you knew that I am completely taken care of by the will of God, it is only His will that moves even the blade of grass. And you will see that the relief from dropping this burden of doership will come. usually, for me, I don't like to rest there. I don't like to rest there too long, because many times, as we continue to retain the idea of our individuality, you see, being a limited object, subject to the will of a greater force, you see, then we can pick up some victimization, we can pick up some specialness, victimization in the sense that, oh, I'm completely God, I'm completely surrendered to your will, but why aren't you fixing this life? I thought that somebody said just surrender and everything will be fine, but it's not fine. Like that. When we still hold on to the limited identity, although the relief from the dropping of doership can come, we can still have a certain idea about how life should go, what should come and what should not come. And it is usually in the transcending of this individuality, to finding yourself to be this unlimited presence, or ultimately that which is aware of even this presence, that even this sense of what is right for my life or what is wrong drops away. One who knows for certain that adversity and success, okay, we've done this a few times. One who knows for certain that happiness and misery, birth and death, happiness and misery come and go in obedience to destiny, sees nothing to accomplish. He engages in non-action, and inaction remains unattached. So let me look at the end of the verse first. It's very powerful. He engages in non-action, and inaction remains unattached. So notice that the sage is saying that engages in non-action, but when there is action, he remains unattached. So it is not again the picture from the mind. It could be saying, but this means I must stop doing everything. I'll stop going to work. I'll stop taking care of my family. I'll find a cave in which I can live. He's not saying to renounce all of that. So when the action is happening, who's doing it? Consciousness. So good. So when action is happening, we see that there is no individual doer of it. We see that consciousness in its light, on its own screen, is moving all this imagery. Then you cannot have either guilt or pride.
So why don't we, so if we say that the group that doesn't exist and this individuality isn't there, when we talk about consciousness, we never tend to say that me as consciousness is playing this. So it's my will as consciousness, not as the group. And if it's me, the consciousness whose will it may be, when we stay, I feel that when you reach that place of stillness, you really don't have a desire. You don't feel a sense of desire. I mean, I haven't really seen this, if you stay as a witness long enough, I guess there's just glimpses of being as the witness and shows that you don't have a desire in that way. You're quite okay. You don't want to do anything. So this one who would have now become unburdened and content would be the I am itself.
Yes. Because nobody else is here.
Yeah, because nobody else is there.
So consciousness itself playing as the burdened one, picking up this burden of ego, individuality, and consciousness itself doing the unburdening itself. And I'm happy she brought up that point, because I did not mention this earlier, but it's important to understand that when we talked about the urge or the primal desire in awareness to experience itself as something, it is just an answer, you see. It is not the truth. Nobody can say that the cause of the creation of this universe, can truly say what was the cause of the creation of the universe. We have to find some answers to remove the question. Because when you come to the recognition of this awareness, then to say it has a desire will sound completely laughable. You see? So we are not talking about the desire of awareness in the same way as we talk about the desire that we might experience energetically or mixed with thoughts in this worldly play. So I wanted to mention that when I started speaking about the desire for creation of this world, you can say that there was a primal urge in awareness to experience itself as something, or to love itself, or to experience the love for itself, or for it to evolve or play this game, or even the lila, the play. We cannot really say that it had the urge for anything at all, or it has a desire about anything at all. It is beyond that. It is only in worldly terms when we need to describe something, we need to remove these hokey questions and say, why was the world created? For me, from the beginning, I've said, I'll give you 4 answers, you pick whatever appeals to you the most. Because actually there is none. And has it ever been created in the first place? And we'll come to that. So he engages in non-action. So what I want to make clear is what you are finding about yourself is beyond action and inaction, which means it's beyond doership and non-doership. Please give some attention to this because this can be very sticky. This year especially, I had to deal with some who got completely stuck on this non-doership concept, and it was very confusing and brought a lot of suffering for them. What you have to understand is that just because you are not the doer doesn't mean you are the non-doer. What does this mean? It doesn't mean that you are an object which is being pushed around by the will of God. And although that concept can bring some momentary relief, that God is controlling my life, He's taking care of my life, it does not bring us relief from our desire, our expectation, our guilt. You see, many of these things still remain because we still have a limited concept about ourselves. So notice or find this one who is beyond doing and not doing. So I don't want to make an object out of you or leave you with the belief that you are an object to which things are happening through the will of a greater force. You are not an object at all. Yes. Pratna says a cause is also a concept, right, Pratna? Yes. So beautiful. This, many times I say, this so-called connection between cause and effect gives rise to a lot of egoic identity. Once you see that all of this is just happening, noise, mute. You see, so actually we can say either that everything is just happening within consciousness, or we can say that consciousness is the one cause for all things. This is basically saying the same thing. That old example which I keep quoting from the Yoga Vashisht, which is that the bird came and sat on the branch of the cocoa tree and the coconut fell down. What does the mind say? Because the bird came and sat, therefore coconut fell down. But can we really presume this? We don't know. So better to say that consciousness made all of this happen. Nothing phenomenal is the cause of another thing. All is just the will of consciousness. Okay? Now, when you apply it to your life, you will see that so much grievance is there because of this cause and effect. So much grievance, guilt, pride, all of this is there. So you see that there is nobody there who is doing this. There is nobody there who is suffering from anything. You see that all is moving only in I am, only in consciousness, as the will of consciousness. And no space for any conclusions, any interpretations. Cat says, Father, at times I feel I need to go to a cave, sit alone, and work on myself. I feel it helps to be nothing. I feel I need to walk out of this life. At times I feel I need to go to a cave and sit alone and work on myself. I feel it helps to be nothing. I feel I need to walk out of this life. If the walking out of this life has to happen, then as Guruji says, the words I walk out of this life or the words I quit, or whatever the words have to be, will also appear. This is exactly what we are talking about. So what we are saying is that you have this intention, this feeling to find yourself. And it can feel like we know what to do about that. And therefore I must do that. Now, this is where we have to smell a little bit. If, when this guidance is coming to you within yourself, if you smell love, peace, spaciousness, no rush, then know that it is your intuitive guidance. But if it is full of trying to get something, full of a sense of doership, trying to achieve something, you see, quickly, then just notice that it could be the mind. So this you have to check. Just like when you come to any satsang, you have to check, irrespective of the content of the words, what is it, what is the space in which they seem to be emerging from? Does that seem to be spacious? Does that seem to be loving? Does that seem to be peaceful? Or does that seem to be like ambition in the world, like goal setting, like trying to get something? Now, once you check this for yourself, and if you find that this is your intuitive presence which is guiding you in this way, then you can trust this. If it is not clear whether it is intuitive presence or mind, then trust life to take care of itself and you keep coming to the cave of your own heart. Whenever life gives you the space, and I know that as long as the space, as long as the longing for the truth is there, life is bound to give you some space. Whenever life does give you the space, find the truth of your existence in the cave of your own heart. Then whether outwardly the cave shows up or the most crowded city shows up, it is fine. Yes. And many times it has helped. Many sages have done great sadhana in caves and come to the recognition of the self. But many people have also gone to caves and then not found anything, found the same mind as loud as ever sitting in the cave. So the cave, outer cave is secondary. You find your inner cave. And whether as a result of this inner cave, the outer cave happens or big noise happens like here, sitting in the noisy street in Bangalore, it doesn't really matter so much. One who has realized that only by caring is misery caused in the world, one who has realized that only by caring is misery caused in the world, becomes free, happy, serene, desireless. Now, this caring is not the automatic sense of compassion or love which can appear. This caring means I care about the outcome. I care about how life should be. I care about how the world should play. That means what? That we have some ideas about any of this, have a pretense about knowing something which is greater than how God's will is playing out. So caring is not caring about other beings, caring about the planet. It's not that, of course. Caring is a natural part of this existence. So often I've said that when true spirituality meets this world, kindness, compassion, all of this is a natural byproduct of it. So this caring is that I care about the outcome. I care about how things should be. I care about my individual identity, basically. One who has realized that only by caring is misery caused in the world becomes free, happy, serene, desireless. It is only that the sage, there was compassion which arose for Janaka in the sage's heart, and therefore he shared these words. Ashtavakra especially was known to be a very reclusive sage. Most people he would drive away. They come to him and say, Master, Master, please tell us what is the truth. He say, no, no, go away from here, go to some other place and don't trouble me. See, many such reclusive masters also we've had in our history. But something he must have recognized in the heart of Janaka. He yearned for this truth. Therefore, this caring, this compassion must have arisen, which, in the light of which all these beautiful words were shared. So don't misunderstand this verse to mean that all those that you care about, you must not care about now, or you must not feel compassion for anyone, nothing like that. The only source of misery is when we have an idea which is in opposition to what is, a resistance to what is the cause of suffering. In fact, another word for ego is resistance. I am not the body, nor is the body my possession. I am awareness itself. One who realizes this for certain has no memory of things done or left undone. There is only the absolute. I am not the body, this we've spoken about, nor is the body my possession. This also I've spoken about many times. But let's look fresh at this. Actually, not so many of us believe that we are the body. if you really look, even at the times in your life when you were not spiritual, you will realize that your position with regard to the body mostly has been about it being a possession of yours. My body is not feeling so well. My arms have some pain. Mostly it's been this kind of relationship where we say that it is a something that we have possessed. Now that one which has been the claimant of this body has been the same one which has been the claimant of our money, of our relationships. That claimant is the non-existent one. Now coming to satsang, you are coming to the recognition of who is the true claimant. Who does all of this truly belong to? It belongs to the self and its manifest aspect, which is consciousness itself. So this is what Guruji means by the switching over of power from person to being. All that we have attributed to person, all that we have attributed to myself, I better take care of my body. Everyone says that, isn't it? Even those who are not in satsang, say, I better take care of my body. So what is the relationship there? The object which I own, which is the body. Now the one that has been claiming this, has been the same one who is concerned about all these other things I spoke about, my relationships, my money, my security, my freedom, my enlightenment, my satsang. And upon investigation, we find that no such me has been there. Then when the sage says, oh, my body has not been getting so much attention from me, I feel to give some attention to my body or take care of my body, you know that he's speaking from a broader perspective. It is not no longer personal. Of course, in the worldly play, we've seen that for most sages, uh, many sages, we've seen that the default position is seeming neglect of the body. But none of them have ever said, you must do like this, you must neglect the body. I am not the body, nor is the body my possession. I am awareness itself. One who realizes this for certain has no memory of things done or left undone. This is only the absolute. Okay. So once you see that you are not this body, this body is as much an appearance as everything else. Then you see that it's moving. Many times I'll say, these words are just coming. I'm hearing them like you're hearing them. It's like being, I have a tissue too. Like being is hearing these, it's enjoying the taste of its own creation, but not in a way of saying that I am saying this, or you must listen to this. No? These words are just appearing. Nobody is doing them individually. The hearing of them is also happening. Nobody is sitting here individually and hearing. I must hear. I must hear. Conversationally, sometimes we say those things, knowing fully well that all of this is just a play of consciousness itself. If you ask the conceptual entity, or even if you ask the mind which claims to know so much, how do you speak? You will say, I just speak, I decide I'm going to say these words, and I speak them. You see, what you say, but how do you speak? How do you move your lips? How do you move your tongue? And you see, it doesn't know. It really doesn't know. This is the cause and effect thing which Pratna was also saying earlier. In the play of the world, just like in a computer game, what is there? A game character is there, James Bond is there. He's firing bullets. Now it is like that. You can believe yourself to be this individual entity who's firing the bullets, but actually, where is all of this happening? All is happening within the game on its own. The programming is doing everything. one who realizes this for certain. So if you're not this body, and yet the body is animated, there is a certain animation which is running through this body. Your heart is beating, your breath is happening. But you are not this body, and it's saying that you are not even in that way individually the possessor of this body. So does this mean the body has to fall off, has to stop all activity? No. So nothing to do means only this, that you see that you are not the doer. Everything, this, including this body, is functioning effortlessly on its own. All of you heard that Francis Lucille's example from me of the game, of the his visit or his story about going to that theme park. Not heard? Are you sure? I'm going to ask this question 3 days later also. Then see the response. So this one was very beautiful. I heard it many, many years ago in one of his beautiful videos, where he shared this example of this theme park, where someone gets into a ride and they are told there will be this sign that come, they'll say left. And when you come left, you turn left with all your force. And if you do well, you'll win this ride. And same way, left, right, easy like that. So he's going, he got on the ride, or someone got on this ride, and they saw left, 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 full. And it went left. It felt so good. Ah, yes, I did a good job. See? Came left, I turned left, and next time it came right. He's turning right, 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 right. Where does the thing go? It goes left. Yeah. See, I knew first time I put all my heart into it, and then I became overconfident, and I didn't do a good enough job with the second one. You see? Like that. Then, same like this, left, right, many turns came. And sometimes he won according to him, and sometimes he lost. And then, same, the play of pride, guilt, all of that happened. At the end, what is told to them? That the ride is pre-programmed. The lefts and the rights, you had no control over any of them. But nobody in that ride figures it out. That is how our programming has become. This world is functioning on its own with its lefts and rights. What does the sage say? That adversity and success come and go in obedience to destiny. Same thing, is it? The winning and losing is the same as that ride. But once you see that, it's all moving on its own. Its own light, its own speed. And this burden of doership falls away. From Brahma to the last blade of grass, I alone exist. One who knows this for certain becomes immaculate, serene, unconflicted. Attainment has no meaning. What does it mean from Brahma to the last blade of grass? I alone exist. Okay. Now, some terminology, because Brahma also sounds like Brahman, but they are not the same. When we say Brahman, we are talking about the absolute, the self, which we often refer to as awareness. So in Indian spirituality, that is called Brahman, within which all of this play of existence and non-existence happens. This is Brahman. This Brahma, if it was Brahma in the scripture, this Brahma is that aspect of consciousness which is the creator. You know that in Indian spirituality, all is one consciousness, but this one consciousness has been looked at in various aspects based on what we are temperamentally attracted to this. Like many times I discussed this with you, that those who are attracted to the naughty and the fun aspect of consciousness seem to find Krishna as their perfect deity in a way. Those who are attracted to righteousness or being the good son are attracted to Ram in a way. Same, feminine, male, all aspects are there. So the one consciousness, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva are also defined as the three main aspects of this one consciousness. Brahma being the originator or the creator energy, the Vishnu being the preserver, the one that takes care of the functioning of the universe, and the Shiva being the destroyer or basically the regenerator. Because nothing actually gets destroyed, it's just a revival, a renewal. So the renewing aspect of consciousness is Shiva. So Brahma, which is the creator itself, who the last blade of grass, which Brahma itself is supposed to have created, are all me, are all I. I alone exist. One who knows this for certain becomes immaculate, serene, unconflicted. Attainment has no meaning. Remember, the sage said becomes. You don't have to try and do any of that. You see your truth. One who knows for certain that this manifold and wonderful universe is nothing becomes desireless awareness and abides in the stillness of no thing. One who knows for certain that this manifold and wonderful universe is nothing becomes desireless awareness and abides in the stillness of no thing. So, when you come to this discovery about what you are, you will find that this I does not have a quality, it does not have an attribute, no shape, no size, no color, none of this. And yet it is I. That's why the translator has said, no thing. It is not a thing. And yet it is that I, that source, that Brahman, the highest. Why is this simple hyphen so important? This no thing, this simple, one simple hyphen makes all the difference. Is it? Because otherwise, if you start to consider yourself as nothing, it would mean that it's nothing, like nothing of phenomena. What is the mind's usual interpretation of this nothing? It's just empty. You are nothing. But you are actually not nothing. You are no thing. You are the source of all there is, which is not what nothing conveys. You are not, you are beyond attributes. You are the self. Now, this self is capital S, self, as opposed to what the Buddhists will say, which is that we have to lose the sense of self to come to the reality of what we are. This self is not that self. That is a reference to the ego. The sense of individualized existence is what some other traditions call as self. But this self that we are talking about is this no thing. And even if the words don't make sense right now, don't worry about it. You will see that it's our own recognition soon enough. When I say that what you discover about yourself is not going to be like what is contained in an empty coconut. which is nothing. See, it is not that nothing. It is the pristine, most innocent. These words, of course, don't do it justice. The unexplainable nothing. This emptiness, this nothingness, is not the emptiness or nothingness of the world. So that's chapter 11. I want to leave you with a simple inquiry before we get to the chanting. What is the mask that you are wearing? Through which you project or express yourself? Notice that it is just a position, a reference point that you have made, a limitation that you have believed about yourself. Is it not in your power to throw away these masks? Is it not possible for us to meet without the pretense of identity? What makes you a seeker? What are you without even this position? Is it not possible to throw away even this mask? Can God not meet itself now, empty of pretense, in complete openness, with no fig leaves of shame or guilt, no limitation of body or mind? The seller of masks will continue to knock at your door. For how long will God continue to buy the stories of this one? Can we not meet maskless, open to all appearances, empty of any position, not rushing to conclusions? Can we not meet as little children, playing as this world itself, knowing that Mother is taking care of everything? Let's meet now as no thing, that which witnesses all things. Here there are no two. No you or I. This is my favorite meeting place, beyond time and space. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Light switch outside. If you are welcome to stay for the chanting if you like. But if you don't feel to, that's also completely fine, whatever you feel. Ram, 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 Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Shri Muji Ji ki Jai.
Jai. Sadhguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.